Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeremy Powers, and you're listening to the 4th episode of the GCN Cyclocross podcast. We've got all of the usual characters, sans Erwin Vervecken, who's not able to make it this week because he has a fever and is in bed. We want to wish Erwin a quick recovery and get him back on the show next week. But this week, we catch up with Marty in our typical segment about all the things that are going on in Europe and on the channel on GCN. We talk about the European Championships and the winners on both sides of the continents in the Continental Championships and in the European Championships. We hear from Van der Poel about how his feelings were during the race. We also hear from an ecstatic Yara Kasterlein, the winner of the Women's European Championship. We catch up with Kerry Werner to hear about his first Pan American Championship title. And then today's interview is with the one and only Katie Compton. And while many of you will not need an introduction to who Katie Compton is, well, you should know that since 2004, there has only been one winner of the national championships of women's cyclocross in the United States, and that person is Katie Compton. 24 World Cup victories. We're not just talking about podiums, we're talking about wins. Katie Compton has 24 World Cup wins, 130 plus UCI victories at almost 40 years of age. We're barely scratching the surface on what this rider's been able to accomplish. I hope you guys enjoy this conversation. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel, like us, follow us, check us out, leave us a review wherever you get your podcast. I really appreciate it. Let's hop into this episode. What's up, Marty?
I am good, thank you. It's been a busy weekend.
It has been a busy weekend, man. It's awesome to, again, be here physically with you in the studio. We got to call both races over the weekend, pseudo weekend. It's a long weekend, I guess, if you think about the holidays.
Yeah, definitely. We were down in Italy for the European Championships on Sunday, and then quite a few riders hot-footing it up to Belgium for the race from Neil, the Jahrmarkt Cross on the Monday.
Yeah, that's right. It was a weekend of the championships. It was the Pan American Championships over up in Canada, in North America, so the Pan American Championships, and then we had the European Championships. And for you guys that don't know, each of those races, being a championship means that you get to wear the jersey if you win, obviously, any of the categories, but the elite specifically, you get to wear the jersey for the year. So that's the race that we saw Anna-Marie Wurst win in the European Championships last year. She wore the jersey all year. And then last year we saw Magali Rochette wear that jersey all year. Changing of the tides, though. This year we have some new winners on both sides. We have on the men's side over in North America, we had Kerry Werner take the victory, and then we had Magali Rochette able to continue on with her dominance, able to repeat there. And in Europe,
for us, it was great to see the junior women finally getting their race. Puck Pieterse, who we saw in Berringen, she's had a great season, great young rider coming through. She took that first ever junior women's title. Michael Crispin, the French rider, took the under-23 men's title. Celine Delcombe and Alvarado, still on great form, taking the under-23 women, which was, again, quite interesting because that shows that she kind of targeting the worlds, that she hadn't stepped up to elite, even though we know she's probably capable of taking that. And I think we had two great races, real dominance so far. Rider of the season, Yara Kasterlein taking the women's race, but I think the elite men's race was one of the most exciting races I know I've got to call for a few years.
Yeah, absolutely. The elite men's race was fantastic. It was a brutal throwdown, man, just a knockout, drag out, literally punches going everywhere. The Belgians were putting themselves in between Van der Poel and making sure that they were opening gaps, even though it wasn't like, we wouldn't call it, like mean racing, right? We would just call it like it was proper bike racing. The Belgians were out in full force, really trying to use their strength and numbers to be able to try to take that European title away from Van der Poel on a course that was very unique. If you guys haven't seen the race, it is over on GCN Racing Live. Marty and I were able to do the call, and it was a heck of a day. A unique track, single track, very narrow down in Italy.
I think that's what's great when you see different countries, different kind of courses. And when you first looked at it, you were like, meh, it's not too exciting, but it gave us such great racing. I think what you said in commentary about it being narrow, you saw the difference between Eli Isabit and his lower center of gravity, shorter, punchier rider, and Mathieu Van der Poel, he said afterwards, even though he took the title, didn't have great sensations. But as they say in Days of Thunder, rubbin's racing, and going into those little chicane sections, and you saw Van Turen out and Isabit just trying to run a little bit of interference on Van der Poel. It was just a great race to watch.
Yeah, and we actually have an interview in English from the post-race. Let's hear what he had to say about it.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the jersey, not so much with the feeling, but it was quite a difficult course to make a difference, and I'm happy that I could finish it off at the end.
Yeah, so he was saying that he didn't have great legs, which, obviously we could tell. He didn't do the Van der Poel thing where he went off and TT'd away from everybody. He was having a day of it. It wasn't on regular form. He was happy to obviously win at the end, but exhausted.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when we look at these races, we underestimate the effort that he has to make because he looks like he's cruising, but you've been there. You don't cruise to victories like that in those sort of races. The guy is just exceptional. And I think when you look back and his dominance, and he's not going to be there, and he's just there to be shot at. And you saw Elias a bit, he's getting up there, and they're doing the right thing with him as a young rider, picking the races, keeping him fresh, not over racing him, and the tides will turn. We've seen it before. It'll happen again, but what a champion.
Yeah, for sure, man. Took it out. Eli Iserbyt definitely throwing down. He is, for the Belgians, they are really pushing on him to be able to try to match Van der Poel. He's got the explosivity. He's able to take his small frame up those big steep climbs, pushing that huge gear, producing a ton of power. And after Van der Poel attacked, he attacked him back on that big straight section, the big straightaway in Italy. It was a moment to see. He even did the look back, that Jan Ullrich look back on Van der Poel as he attacked. It made for some excellent racing. Like I said, if you guys haven't seen it. And then Yara Casterline taking the European champs. That was a heck of a day too. She rode basically, I wouldn't say pin to pin, but after a short amount of time, she was off the front and she took the race by the horns.
She is, and she's had a great season. And it's a rider kind of like Celine Del Carmen Alvarado, where we've seen steady progress. You look back through her career, national champion as a debutante, national champion as a junior. She's been national time trial champion as well. She's a classy rider. And then just being able to benefit from that experience of Bart Vellens, stepping into that team. And then this year, second in GP Pelt, second in Pole Cross, third in heat, and then got that breakthrough in Havre, then on the top of the Koppenberg. So everything yesterday, and you saw, looking at the face of Castellan yesterday, she was on the limit. And Eva Lechner, I don't know what you think, but I think if it had been one lap longer, I think Eva Lechner might have got back. It's all hearsay, but it was just over 40 minutes. I think if they had one more lap, don't know what you think.
It's tough. I mean, I think the racers race what they have to race, right? They plan their effort accordingly and then they go for it. But I have to agree with you that if the race was one more lap, it would have definitely had potentially a different outcome. There's no question about it. So Eva Lechner getting second place, and then the defending champion, Anna-Marie Wurst, getting third place. So it was a fantastic race. It was really good to watch. It wasn't a blowout. Casterline was pushed the entire time by the chasing group, and so it was a really good one to watch. But I think, Marty, the thing that struck me the most about her win was just how ecstatic she was on her Instagram after. It was holy bleep how excited she was about winning it. And then we also got this post-race interview that we have to check out.
I felt that I was stronger than the other girls, and I had the lead and lost focus. And it's really cool when you race in the front because you can write your own lines. And my coach said to me, okay, focus on the good lines. And I did, and now I'm here. I have all my goals actually already from this season. Yeah, it's incredible. And now I will focus on the world, I think.
I just love that little chuckle that she's got in there. You just look and you just heard her interview, and it's great to when you hear these riders getting interviewed for the first time, especially in English. And when you say, I've achieved my goals already, and you're like, hey, I'm going to talk in the wilds now. Party time for the rest of the season.
Dude, that was amazing. I think that for me personally, that told me everything I need to know. She broke out her English, her best English. She really is trying to just tell everyone exactly how ecstatic that she is. And it came across in that interview in a way that I don't think, you can't make that up. That's just beautiful, pure elation. It was really great to see. And then over in North America, talk about that a little bit. Kerry Werner taking his first title in the Continental Championships. Kerry's a rider that I've raced with a lot. I've known him for a long time, and he's been able to slowly but surely whittle his way to the top echelon of pro cyclocross in the United States. And now taking his first title, his first jersey, he's going to be really proud to be able to wear that.
I think it gives riders hope as well that are 29, never give up.
Absolutely.
Keep chipping away, and it'll come.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to see that. I actually got a chance to catch up with Kerry, so we're going to dive into that right now. Kerry Werner.
What's up?
It's awesome to have you on, man. Thank you so much for making the time. I'm sure you're super busy, traveling a lot, and coming back, I presume, from the Pan American Championships.
Yes, currently in the RV. My father-in-law is driving, and we're on our way to Supercross.
Excellent. So you'll be racing again this weekend. Kerry, tell us, man, how was it to win your first championship, the Pan American Championship title? It was a strong duel with you and Curtis White, who was the former Continental champion. You guys came into it in the last lap, and you were able to edge him out by a few seconds.
Yeah, man, it was just like pretty nerve-wracking week because I had my hopes set on this pretty high, and coming into the race I didn't know how the course was going to go. I knew it was going to be similar, and I knew that Curtis was a good sprinter, and there was a big long finish straight, and so like I replayed different sprint scenarios over in my head all week, just like jacking my heart rate up in bed, and so that was on my mind. But then, I took Saturday off, which is something I don't usually do, and like put all my eggs in the Pan Am basket. So there was like a little bit of extra pressure on me to like have a really good ride. And yeah, all the cards kind of fell into place.
Yeah, dude, you've been having a great season. You've taken quite a few wins already this year. Taking the C1 in Cincinnati, we talked about that a little bit, but you've been on the podium a lot. Again, I was saying this is your first championship. After the confidence of the Pan American Championships, I hate to say it, but you got to be thinking about nationals now.
Yeah, I am definitely there. There's still, it's kind of nice for me because I'm kind of locked in the throes of this Pro CX battle here in America, and the standings that holds, and so it's kind of nice to have that. So Curtis and I are only 33 points apart, and so Supercross. So Pan Ams didn't count towards that, but Supercross and then Hendersonville, the next two races I'll do before Nationals, do count. And so I kind of have to have good races there to like really solidify this win for me in this standings. So it's kind of nice because I'm kind of focused on that for the time being, and I'm not letting my head drift too far down the road to Nationals, which I feel like could make me a little nervous and put a little more pressure on me than I'd like.
Yeah. You have one in your pocket though. The other guys don't. So yeah, you'll be good. What and what do you have coming up? So you have these races coming up, Supercross in New York. You've got the races down in Hendersonville, which is down south, probably closer to your home where you call home. And then you're going out to Nationals directly to Europe after that?
Yep. So Supercross is like 2.5 hours from where I am in North Carolina. And then I get 2 weekends off, which is nice. I haven't had that all year, so that'll be nice to get a little tune-up in before Nationals. Then we fly out on Wednesday to race Nationals the 15th of December, and the 16th we fly out of Seattle direct to Amsterdam, and we're there until basically for 2 months. So we're going to stay 2 weekends after World Champs this year and get in Hulst and then come home.
Excellent. Okay, so a good European block going down there during the Euro Champs. We were talking offline. It sounds like you'll go to Spain again, do a training block to try to get 100% to go into the World Championships with some good form.
Yeah, last year was the first year we did that. Stephen Hyde kind of was like, "Hey man, you should do this." So we took off while everybody else raced Nationals, and I skipped the French World Cup too. So I had a good solid 2 weeks of training there, and it was a big motive, like kind of rejuvenator mentally and physically before Worlds.
All right, I love it. Any celebratory plans for the Pan American Championships coming up? I know you got a lot of racing coming up, but you got to cherish this moment, man. You guys are heading back home. You're heading to New York. You're back in the United States. Is there any celebratory things going down for you guys to celebrate the accomplishment?
Well, definitely looking forward to getting that jersey. That's like the custom team Pan Am jersey. But I've been sleeping in the one I got at the race, and trying to get through this first race, or these next two races. Then we have off for Thanksgiving, and we're gonna have a little family, friends get together and celebrate.
Awesome, man. I'm sure everyone's super pumped. I'm sure your family, your friends, your sponsors, everyone's super happy for you at GCN. We all want to say congrats and great job. We look forward to seeing you at Nationals and then over in Europe.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, I'm stoked.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for the time today, and we will talk to you soon.
All right, thanks.
Always good to catch up with Kerry, and so great to be able to hear that he's on top of the moon. Just a really cool thing. His team has been tearing it up. The Kona program, as you heard, just great, really great program. They've been doing a lot of good stuff over there, and I have to say, I was was really happy to see him be able to take the win.
Yeah, it's great. And it was just awesome to see Magali getting in there, getting that title again, defending that. I was really lucky, got to interview her many times last year in our cyclocross coverage. She was great with her time. She did our women's forum. And you have a little bit of pride. When she won that first World Cup, she's having a great season. We were all like kind of, yay!
Yeah, our guest last week on the show. So hopefully you guys got to know more about Magali defending that Pan American Champs jersey, continuing to have a season of domination. Has been fantastic to watch and see her success as well. So Marty, what do we have coming up? Because we've been doing a lot of coverage on the GCN Racing Live.
This weekend, we go back to the UCI Telenet World Cup from Tabor, that's very restricted territories, unfortunately. We're working on that. Keep subscribing to the channel. Keep watching. The more viewers we have, the more coverage we can bring you. And then we're back with round 2 of the DVV Trophy from Hammer on Sunday. And again, that's worldwide, just excluding Belgium and the Netherlands, because as we know, cyclocross is probably the biggest thing in Belgium. So we don't get those. But make sure you tune in with us on Sunday for DVV round 2.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to commentating with you, Marty. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks. It's been fun having you alongside me.
Yeah, it is. And we're going to do this a lot more. All right. See you. What a good conversation about all of the championships that happened over the weekend. Some fantastic racing in the men's side and the women's side. Great to see some new faces getting to wear those Continental Championship and European Championship jerseys for the next year. So now it is on to the interview with Katie Compton. And while she won't need an introduction to many of you, we don't want to miss an opportunity to talk about how awesome she actually is. If you don't know, Katie Compton has won the national championship title for the elite women since 2004. That means there is not another rider that has won the national championships, although there have been some great battles since 2004. 15 times consecutively, she has been able to win the national championships of the United States. She's also won 24 World Cups. I don't mean she's made appearances on the podium. No, she has won 24 World Cups during her career, and she's amassed over 130 UCI victories, which is more than any male or female from the United States. No one has touched 130 UCI victories, and that's barely scratching the surface. Before she was a cyclocrosser, she raced as a para-Olympian and helped a blind rider win multiple world and Olympic titles. She's been a fantastic personality and a force to be reckoned with on the bike. It's a pleasure to welcome Katie Compton to the show. Okay, so I'm here with the 15-time national champion from the United States, Katie Compton. Katie, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I also have down here some other things. You've been 5 times on the podium at the World Championships, 4 times second place.
Yep. Yep.
There's also a third place in there.
There's a third place, yeah.
You remember all 4 of those second place World Championships?
Yeah, I remember 2 of them being pretty happy, 2 of them being pretty disappointed, and the bronze being really disappointed. So, but that's Worlds. Like, some days you feel really good about getting on the podium, and some days you're like, I wish I would have done better.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
Your first one was in 2007 in Hoogelaarde Gids, which is in Belgium. That was a big race. Jonathan Page also got second there.
And then Danny Summerhill was also second for the juniors.
Man, we were on. The United States was going.
We were good. 2007 was a good year for the U.S.
That race is like a really long time ago.
It feels like it.
So that's something that I want to talk about, just your mindset now, because it's 2020. That was 2007. So many things have changed. You won your first title 2004, I believe?
Yes.
Your first national title.
Yeah, first national 2004, yeah.
Oh, that's 16 years ago.
It is.
Just curious of your mindset now, because it's a lot has changed.
My mindset's always been about the same because I love racing my bike and I love competing and I love cross. It's like one year at a time where I feel like I grow and develop as a person, and like obviously I'm getting older and I'm learning, but I still feel like that, first time taking the start in 2004 when I'm just like butterflies in my stomach and not sure how this is going to go and excited for the racing. Like even at Koppenberg yesterday, Katie and I are at the start, still nervous and be like, this is going to be a hard day. Like you still have those race feelings. And I love the fact that from 2007 till now, I still get that feeling where I want to race my bike. I'm excited to be on the start. And I'm going to miss that when I'm done racing. Like I'm getting toward the end of my career. So every time I take the start, I'm appreciating the fact that it's getting close to not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I remember that very, very well. I remember kind of in my last year knowing like, okay, appreciate these moments.
Yeah.
Appreciate, the atmosphere, the people that I'm able to meet and trying to make the most of it. Just recently, I think in Beringen, podium again in third place.
Yeah.
That is a long time later, but you're still with women half your age.
Yep.
Punching it out for the victory. I think it's special. I think that's something that we're seeing. Katarina Nash is also, showing that she's able to do that. Marianne Vos, riders that you've had great battles with over the years. Were you excited for that first podium finish in Europe this year?
I was, just because the podium's just getting harder and harder to get onto, especially as I get older. Yeah, racing against girls that are half my age. I try not to think about it too much, but then when I realize how much energy they have, and I was like, oh, that's right, I used to have that energy.
Totally.
I used to recover really quickly after a race weekend, and now I'm like 4 days later, I'm like, I feel like I'm still sore. Like, why has my hamstring been hurting for the last 3 months?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'm dealing with that stuff, but also I really it was fun being on the podium, and it's also fun just being at the front of the race again. Last year was such a tough year because I feel like I was sick the entire season. As soon as I got better, I got sick again. So I was never in a place where I could train properly, and I was trying to as soon as I made a little bit of progress, I'd have more setbacks. And so I don't know, it wasn't something I put out there really. Every once in a while I put an Instagram post maybe, but I struggled a lot without actually letting people know how bad it was.
Verbalizing it.
Yeah, because sometimes you're just like, nobody wants to hear negative all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm still racing my bike and enjoying an amazing lifestyle. So it's like, how much can I truly complain? I was just struggling last year. And so this year, getting on the podium and starting to feel better, racing towards the front of the race, feeling like my old self, that definitely makes me happy. The struggle, we all go through it, but enough's enough.
Yeah, totally.
You're just tired of it.
Yeah, you and I have, even back when I was having problems with diet and stuff like that, we've had long conversations. Yep. Bike riders getting mysterious illnesses from who knows what.
Yeah.
It's mud, maybe, things.
Well, honestly, that's legitimate. We're riding through goose shit.
Yeah.
All the bacteria that they carry and 100%. Riding on roads that are covered with manure from animals and farm.
Not that far off.
No. I've had enough bacterial infections and viral infections to be like, where did I get that? Last year I had a cyclomegavirus, which is a virus you get from cats. I don't even own a cat. I'm never around cats. I'm like, how? It kicks your butt, but I'm just like, where did this come from? But I got it. That's
it. I had the same thing. I had some type of pylori. I had all kinds of things in my stomach, and we had to eradicate. And then you don't think it because you're like, that's not the problem. Something bigger is going on. But then you get rid of it, and you're like, man, I feel really good now.
After you get through the antibiotics, if you have to take antibiotics, which then kick your butt too. And so you're just like, I feel like antibiotics help, but now I got to recover from taking those. And now it's 8 weeks later, and I'm like, I got a lot of catching up to do. And the older you get, the harder it is to catch up. You just can't catch up in December for January Cross Worlds or February Cross Worlds. It's just like, ship has sailed.
Yep.
And I'm not on it.
Well, hopefully you catch it at the next port.
I know, right? If I can run fast enough to get there.
You become a good swimmer.
No.
So let's jam into that because you famously had some highs and lows. The leg cramps were a big deal early on. Yep. You mitigated or fixed those for the most part.
For the most part. Yep. I still have to be on top of my nutrition and my recovery and just the right training for me. But I now have leg pains very rarely, and I've reduced it to maybe once every 2 years, and they're not as bad. So it's definitely under control.
Cool.
Yeah.
And one thing that I know from you from being a friend, but also from listening to podcasts and interviews with you is that you were a big self-educator. Just love to know what the motivation was.
Well, for that is I have a bachelor's degree in exercise science. And when I was in school, I was went to pre-PT, I did exercise physiology, I switched exercise science to a business minor type just so I could, find better chance to find a job in sports when I graduated. Mm-hmm. But I really loved physiology and I loved the human body. That's just something I've always been drawn to. And even now, half my Instagram is full of medical stuff just because I find it interesting. But I think that kind of made it super easy for me to research things and to study things and to figure out I'm feeling all these things, what could that possibly be? And obviously everything you read online, you got to make sure it's from a good source and not just some random website that that's what I have. But learning about a variety of things and, from nutrition and proper training and recovery and then, food allergies and just just the way the body works. I've always enjoyed learning about that. So when I'm having health issues, I know my symptoms the best. Like, it's hard to explain to a doctor maybe. I know how I'm feeling. I know like what's going on. So when I can read through studies of things, I can be like, yes, no, absolutely. Like, I can eliminate things real easily.
I did the same.
Yeah.
I felt like that was a big part of it. It was like, you know, just simply doing something like an elimination diet was really, really good practice. We've talked about histamine diets. We've had chats about all kinds of things.
Yeah, and sometimes they work great, sometimes not.
Yeah,
and sometimes
they work and don't.
Yeah, and your body changes over time. The older you get, your digestion changes. Like, things change, and you have to be willing to kind of work with that and have the ability to like grow and be like, you know what, that's not working. I need to adjust something else.
Constraints.
Yes, exactly. Totally. And now I'm pretty dialed in, and as long as my allergies are good and like my immune system isn't kind of overactive, which I think it was for quite a while, I can eat, I can drink wine now, I can like have more histamine foods and be perfectly fine. Whereas last year and 2 years ago, like I couldn't have any. Like, I had to be real careful. So
I agree.
I
go through phases too where it feels like there's times when it's just like, I know this is a high histamine food and I'm getting stuffy after I eat it. Yeah. Or if I do this thing because there's something else that's high, there's something else that's outside. That's bike racer life.
It is.
You're in you're very fine line. You're paper thin. You've got a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
What is your diet like today?
Now I kind of eat a low histamine diet still, just because in the season. But mostly I just can't have wheat and rice.
Okay.
So since with my grass allergy, like rice is in the grass family. So when I'm in area like Belgium where there's a lot of grass fields that we're racing through, I got to be really careful about staying away from any grass related food.
Okay.
And then, so that's pretty much all carbohydrates mainly, besides quinoa, buckwheat, and potatoes.
Okay.
So those I'm heavy into those carbohydrates, and then pretty much meat and veg. Healthy fats. So it's pretty much it's a whole diet. I would say it's more like a paleo diet if you want to call it something. But it's eating healthy whole foods and nothing processed. Making sure there's no folic acid in it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, we were talking about Belgian Grass. So let's talk about you being one of the only riders that's made it here. Really. I mean, truthfully, from the United States, there are so few. Jonathan Page is on that list. I did time here, but I never lived here like you did. Full time. At least I did. I did one season here.
It's hard.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious about your what makes it work for you.
You got to have the support network. Like we've stayed with the same family for 11 years, and they were amazing. Kind of as a Belgian family, lived in a beautiful place for training, just north of Antwerp. But they helped us at the races. They kind of helped us learn the culture and learn the people, and just, we're like the local guide that you have when you ever go to any foreign country. It just makes everything easier. So that helped a ton. And then having Mark with me too, my husband, doing this as a couple and doing it together and having that support that's 100% there all the time makes a huge difference. When you're living away from home for 2, 3, 4 months at a time in a different environment with a different language, it helps to have, your partner making things easier, and then a family to go home to technically. Yeah. And then the longer I've been here, the more I get accepted by the other racers. And I've noticed I get a lot more respect for being here and doing it kind of like week in, week out, instead of flying in for World Cup in and out, in and out. So I think last year and this year, Mark and I have definitely noticed a change, and just people are just excited to see us. They're chatty. It's a lot more social, kind of, you're part of the traveling circus instead of just looking at it, like wanting to be part of it, but just outside the circle, just llooking in, like being jealous of, like, I feel like I should fit in, but I don't.
Yeah.
So now I'm starting to fit in.
Yeah. We jammed with Sven Nys earlier in the summertime, and he said something that stuck with me that I was really surprised about, and I knew it always, but I just the way he said it like really stuck with me. It was that this is a family sport. In Belgium, a lot of the riders have their family there helping them. I've always known that. Yep. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But in a way that I hadn't thought about it before. It's not that it's almost like it's not an option. You need to have your
The family, yeah.
to be able to have success in the sport in Belgium.
I would say yes to that. They're definitely, because going to race, you can't do it alone. Like even now we've got, the family helped me and Mark for 11 years. And luckily we've been able to meet people who've helped us at the race now, but I still have Mark and I have another soigneur, and then sometimes her daughter helps us in the pit or her husband helps us in the pit. Like it's still like you need to make those contacts so you can, when you're down to 2 people, you can be like, hey, I only, can you help us today?
Yeah.
And it's something as simple as, giving podium flowers if you have a good day, or like a thank you, or, cash to buy some coffee, like something, just like some sort of gift as a thank you for helping me out. But having a family that's going to be there weekend in and out and enjoy being in the cold rain and mud and help cleaning your bikes when it's 40 degrees out and raining and cold and all you want to do is go in and have a cup of tea and like warm up,
crawl, and lay in a.
So it's there is something to be said for that. And it's expensive too because you're paying helpers that aren't your family.
Yeah,
you were paying them a day rate, really.
Yeah.
So that adds up too.
Let's talk about Mark. He's here with you, been here with you.
Yeah.
He is definitely essential to how you've been able to be here for as long. I mean, I think we could say right now a prerequisite to having success in Europe would be to have some
to have a mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to have like family there with you too. I think you have to be in it with someone. Having done it alone, it's very lonely.
It's very lonely. You need to be able to share those moments, good or bad,
I want to ask you about that too.
It's also like if I have a bad day or even a good day, like we can talk about, the positives and negatives and go through it. And Mark can point out good things when I'm, everything's negative. He can like, well, it wasn't all bad. Like you did this, this, and this right. And maybe you learned this. And a good day, he's like, yeah, it was good. However, there's things you could have done to be better. And so it's good to have the outside perspective. And it's also good, like, honestly, having a bad day, it's nice to share that with somebody to help you feel better. Yeah. And if you're alone, you kind of wallow in that negativity and there's nobody to bring you out of it. Yeah. And then it's a short day with, rainy, gray skies. And you're like, if you're constantly day in, day out getting sadder and sadder, it's hard to get out of that hole. I think to be successful here, having a partner, it could just be a best friend.
Yeah.
Or like a mechanic who understands you. Somebody that you can kind of lean on to for support when you're having a downtime. It makes it easier.
Just to back up, Mark is Katie's husband.
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know.
That's clear, yeah.
Yeah. And so was it like, is there ever been times when you guys are just sitting in the car and not saying anything for a while?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just think people are probably like, because I'm just trying to think, you guys do so much together and you live through it as well. I mean, owning a team, I was able to feel like that as well. But you guys must have a totally different relationship than other, it's just not a casual. I don't go to work with my wife.
No. And it's a funny thing is like, so Mark and I, since the day we've met, we've been able to hang out together all the time without disliking each other. And that's unique to us, I think. And we bicker. Like anybody who spends any time with us knows that we bicker to the point where like, we don't even realize we're doing it. We're just like, our friends are getting uncomfortable. They're like, are you guys going to stop fighting? Because I don't know what side to pick. And we're like, we're not fighting. We're bickering. Yeah, we're getting it all on the table. Because if you let it fester when you're around each other 24/7, that's when you start having issues. Like, Mark and I definitely have our moments. And we definitely have the quiet time in the mobile. And usually because we're listening to podcasts. And so sometimes one of us will like frustratingly just stop the podcast. Like, are you done talking? Because like, quiet time so we can listen, or you're going to talk, like one or the other, but like I can't have the podcast and you talking. So, and we're okay with that communication. Like, okay, I'll just be like, that's enough. And he'll say the same thing to me. I'm like, you done? Because I'm over it. And sometimes I'll be driving too and I'll ask Blix, what you thinking? Just because I know how annoying that is to be like, enjoy quiet time and somebody asks you what you're thinking. So it's one of those like, just to with each other.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not going to answer your question.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle of the cross season now. And I'm just wondering what you have on your mind for this year. Mm-hmm. You will make one trip back to the U.S. for the national championships?
Yeah, we debated on going back to Canada for Pan Am champs. But mainly, the older I get, the more I don't want to deal with jet lag. I just got over here and settled, and I'm starting to feel good, and I don't want to head to Canada and deal with the time change. And granted, there's only 6 hours. It's not that big of a deal, but an international flight, chance of getting sick, a lot. It's only 100 UCI points, and I'm just like, I don't know if it's worth it. So I decided to stay here. I'm going to race the World Cup Series and most of the DVV races, and then a couple single races here and there depending on how I'm feeling. I'll come back after Kolkata World Cup, and then we'll have about 2.5 weeks at home, depending on when, like how much we're in Washington for nationals. And that'll be a quick flight back, because between nationals and Mark driving the truck and trailer back home and then flying out to race Namur the next weekend, it's gonna be tight. I just hope that there's no snowstorms in Montana, Wyoming in December. Like, fingers crossed, Mark can actually drive straight through.
Yeah, so you'll go for your 16th national title. Have you ever raced at the track that it's going to be?
I have, you were racing it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had, though.
Yeah, Lacombe?
Yes.
Yeah, I do remember that park, because I think it was like 2007 or 8 season for USGP, and I loved it. It was a fun park. I really enjoyed it. It was a great experience. I like the race weekend, so I'm hoping it's just as good.
Getting back to the Pacific Northwest for the national championships is going to be fantastic.
It's going to be great. Like,
you're the first American that I've had on the podcast. As a heads up,
good.
The only. Yeah. So
talk about nationals.
So the old USGP was our series that we had that ran from maybe 2003 through 2006 or something, 7, 8.
No, it was 8, I think.
Yeah, 8. Okay, yeah. So it was 5, 6 years, something like that. But it was the most prestigious series that I believe we ever had. And and a lot of these venues that are now pretty historic venues in the United States, now we're using one of them up in the Pacific Northwest for the national championship. So it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be exciting times to be back up there, because I feel like we've neglected that area. It's such a good area for cyclocross because it's so wet.
I'm looking forward to. It's gonna be. I assume it's gonna be another muddy race, kind of like Portland was in 2004. I'd say my only issue is the fact that it's a 9-hour time change.
Big time.
And it's a big travel, to the point where I'm just like, I get nationals in, like, on the West Coast, we need it. But as a selfish bike racer, I'm just like, really? Can't we do it on the East Coast? A little closer to Europe? And that's selfish on just, as an athlete, and I look at, like, Katie Keough and, like, a handful of us that were going to come back over to Europe. It's unfortunate for us, but there's like 5 of us out of like how many thousand races are going to be at nationals. So what do you do?
It's important, though. I mean, that's the reason that it hasn't been there, I think. Because
I think it is.
It is 9 hours, and it's a massive ask, and it's having flown directly from LA to here. It's like it's a lot. It's an 11-hour flight.
It is, and it's just tough on your legs. So like generally those kind of flights, we upgrade to business class for them. Just at least I do. Yeah, because you almost have to. And honestly, as much luggage as we're taking nowadays, like even on the flight to Belgium, Mark upgraded us to business. And I was like, oh, Mark, we don't need to spend the money. And he's just like, yeah, you do, because we got to hit the ground running. We don't have time to not be rested when we land in Belgium. And I was like, okay. But then when we were checking in for the luggage, we would have spent $600 on luggage fees or $500 to upgrade to business class.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we actually just saved money by upgrading to business class.
Yeah, you did.
So
that's literally the
exact same thing. And she told us at the check-in counter, she's like, well, actually, the fact that you guys upgraded to business, you didn't have to pay these fees. And so I was like, we actually got something for our money for the first time. Yeah. So it actually worked out great. So now, looking at the luggage that we're taking over, I'm going to constantly look at like, okay, what's the break even for cost?
That's the way to do it. So let's talk about you come back, and then there's the World Championships. Must be still on your mind. I'd love to know what your goals are for the rest of the season, but also for like the rest of your career. What are the ones that you want to like? What is the one that you really want to die happy with?
I'd love to win Worlds at some point, but now I'm just to that age where I'm just like, whew, I don't know. You're past your prime. I'm definitely past my prime. Like I look back and I'm like, I remember a key like 4 to 5 years where I just felt good. Like I could train, I could race, I could travel. I just like kind of felt invincible as an athlete. And like I don't feel like that anymore. So I'm definitely starting to be like counting the years, be like it's might be a little bit late, but I'm still gonna go all in for Switzerland because it's a flat race. Chance it's going to be muddy. It might be snowy, but it could be good course for me.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, you know what? I got second at Hogaheide last year, and it was a muddy race, and it wasn't a great day for me, and everybody was there. I'm just like, you know,
It's
you
possible.
never know. It's possible.
Absolutely. That's every
so-
bike racer.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to try to do the preparation to be able to ride fast and strong through the mud, and then just work on the technical bits too, so I can have a good day, and we'll see.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about something that's interesting that's going on right now, and that's the switch of the UCI calendar. I would just love to have your opinion on that. What do you think about, let's make this a little bigger question, where the sport is at with the women right now? Because it's really, I think it's in a beautiful place, in my opinion. It's grown, and
It has.
Let's start there.
Yeah, and that's also part of the reason why I want to keep racing. Because, like, when I was in my prime, we didn't have the start contract, we didn't have the prize money, we didn't have the race respect, we didn't have the video. Like, there's so many good things about women's bike racing now that I wish I could be part of, which I wish we had 10 years ago. But now to see it grow and develop and get to this point where we've got so many strong women at the front of the race, like the talent pool is pretty deep. The racing's dynamic. We've got a different podium every weekend. The prize money's better, and the start contracts are better. Like, I feel like now we're finally getting the respect we've kind of been fighting for.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to be part of that.
Yeah.
And then I know Katerina says the same thing. And then even talking to Eva Lechner yesterday, like, she was saying the same thing. It's just like, we're getting older, but we want to be part of how great women's cross is right now.
The road you guys paved.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fun to see, and it's also fun to see how great the younger women are doing. Like, they're good technically, and they're strong, and they're mentally strong. So it's like they've got all the traits you need to be a good bike racer. Whereas I think when I was racing, we had somebody who was like really good engine, doesn't have the technical skills, really good skills, doesn't have the engine, maybe not as mentally strong in the bad conditions. Like, you didn't have so many riders that had all the traits. And now we've got like 10 riders at the front who can do all of it, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, it's viable now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's viable to be a cyclocross racer primarily for the women, where it was for the men, but it was not really. You
Not
had to
for the
race
women.
mountain bikes, you did road stage races, you had to cobble together different things, as did a lot of riders coming up. But you rode for a ton of different programs.
Yeah. No, we all do, because like, just when you think you're confident in your sponsorship dollars, the contract runs out and they're like, you know what? We may have said we wanted to do this again, but we don't have any money. So good luck finding something else. And you're constantly scrambling, and that's the bike world. It's like, there's not a ton of confidence in the fact that, like, or security, I guess, in the next contract, even if it's like an unspoken, like, we're good. Unless it's written on paper.
But I think that the women's racing now is so compelling that I don't think it's going away.
I don't.
And I don't think this is a peak. I think that I think you guys are here to stay over the last couple of seasons. It's been incredible racing at the front.
It's only getting better.
And, you know, I think that it's more than viable. It might even be better than, I'll be as dare to say, sponsorship opportunity for a potential investor. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Especially with like the good TV coverage for the women's racing. Everything's improving. It's a great time, actually, especially any sponsor that's like a women's specific sponsor would be amazing to come on at this time. For any of the teams, or even just sponsoring the races or whatever. But the women are putting on a show, and it's fun to watch. And even like talking to people at the races, like people that have always come for the men's race are just like, we actually like the women's race better now. And they don't want to say it. They'll say it to like the women. They're like, you can say that out loud. It's okay. That like bike racing, it, you know, ebbs and flows, and where there's been a real big push to promote the women's racing because it's exciting to watch if you can watch it. But people haven't been able to watch it, and so they don't know. And now they know what they're missing, and now they're like, I like short, intense, hard races. Like compared to the men's racing, which some of the men's racing, like World Championships this year, 7 hours? Really? Do we need to watch them race for 7 hours? Probably not. I mean, granted, that race was pretty epic.
It was.
And it was like, I had it on, but I definitely didn't watch it. I popped in, back out, you know, in and out to see it, and then be like, I cannot believe these guys are racing in these conditions for 7 hours. Like I would have cracked 5.5 ago.
Yeah, that was insane. That
It
was
was
insane to
insane.
watch. Yeah, well, that's the good thing about cyclocross is that we figured it out in an hour or
Yeah.
just under.
Yeah, and it's perfect, and it's fun. And you're just like, okay, I'm cold and wet enough. Like
Yeah.
you guys can wrap this up.
We
and
wrapped
get
it up.
going.
Exactly. We figured it out. It was chess versus checkers. It was easy.
Exactly.
And so then when you think about the internationalization of the sport, the women coming up, doing really well, you're a part of that. You're actually living in it. I mean, you really are in like perfect time for the sport to be.
I wish I was 7 years younger, but
I'll
yes.
give you that. I'll give you that. But we can't have everything.
Can't have everything now. No.
So then what do you think about the calendar? That's my second part of that question is what do you think's happening and what would your opinion be? I mean, we also sat on the USA Cycling committee. We currently do on the cross commission and you've sat with the UCI meetings. You've been on the board as an athlete representative.
Yep.
What are you seeing now? What's your opinion of what's happening, and what would you do?
It's a tough one because like a 16 race World Cup, I think it's just too much unless you're committed to living in Belgium, which is the racing is great here and like competition is great. But if you can't afford to live in Belgium, which most racers can't afford to live in Belgium unless you know somebody, you have a place to stay, you've got a national federation, like a service course you could stay at. But if you think about you're changing your life for so many months to be there, not even bringing in the visa issues with being able to stay in the country for, so many more days than you're allowed, depending on where you're from. But also just think about the money it costs to have a life set up in your home country, and then you're moving that for 4 months to try to race the World Cups. As long as you can travel back and forth. Yeah. So he's got a lot of races that are going to be hard for everybody to do. But not only that, you're taking away from the other really strong race series that the riders can actually make money at. Like between the DVV series and the Super Prestige, riders make money in those overalls as well as their start contracts. So if those races don't have a spot on the calendar because the World Cup has taken over everything, it's going to hurt those series. And I don't think that's good for the sport.
No.
It kind of makes it where the only people that can go to the World Cups are literally the top 20 in the world if they can manage to get there. But what if they can't? What if they can't afford it? And so you're now reducing the pool from an international pool. Now it's a Benelux country World Cup where only, let's say, Belgians, Dutch, French, the token Swiss or Luxembourg rider can show up. They can get there on the weekends, maybe if they're driving up from their house and racing. But people in the U.S., people traveling from Aussie, New Zealand, good luck growing the sport outside of Belgium.
Yeah.
And calling it a World Cup.
Yeah, definitely. That second part is the most important thing. It's not.
Exactly. It won't be. I keep comparing it to it'll be like at our American baseball. We've got a World Series that has one country in it.
Yeah.
And we've got an American football that, again, has Super Bowl with one country in it. So it's like you can call it what you want, but unless you've got a variety of countries, it's not a World Cup.
No.
And like even if UCI is cracking down on the C1s in international competition, and you have to have 10 different countries for a C1 now, that's not a World Cup isn't going to have 10 different countries. No. So like that doesn't even reach C1 status now.
Yeah, 16 is a big difference too. Not 10, 16. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. So there's like I'd love to grow the sport, and I would love to see like if they want to compare it to like Formula One racing. They've got 18 races. I'm not sure how many actual races Formula One has, but for the world champion, it's all the races. It's a constructors championship for the teams, like, team championship as well as a driver championship. And that's awesome that you can follow those races through the whole season. If we adapted something like that, but we're not racing World Cups every single weekend.
Yeah.
It's maybe 10 races from October 1st through January 31st or something, maybe spaced out, but more international, and then calling that person the world championship like Formula One does. That would be kind of cool.
Sure. There's a lot of things.
But
currently, though, the way it's been brought up, it's just not. I don't think that with the proposal of having 16 World Cup rounds. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of that.
Yeah.
And what they decide to do with it. I'm not a fan initially, but hopefully they surprise us.
I know, and same thing is like I don't want to be like instantly negative and instantly like no, it can't happen. It's not possible. It's like well, that's pretty close-minded. Yeah. But part of me, my initial reaction, like the gut reaction when I saw it, I was like, this isn't going to work. Yeah,
exactly.
And now I'm like, okay, step back. Like you can't just say it's not going to work. You haven't tried it yet. So I'm open to trying it, but I hope if they can fix it, they can tweak it, they can adjust it as needed to make it work.
Yeah.
If they're willing to be like, this is what we have to start with. If it doesn't work, we're going to change it till it does. That I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. It just takes open mind, and hopefully the riders are able to have a say through the designated people that are there.
I hope so. I just don't know if anyone's going to listen to the riders. It seems like everybody who made this decision didn't talk to the riders.
No, I would agree.
I mean, if Sven wasn't happy with it, I feel like Sven is somebody who does talk to talks to the riders. He also talks UCI. He's very active in the community.
Teams.
Yeah, like I feel like if they
know.
don't listen to him, they're not going to listen to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
interesting times.
it is.
Let's jump to cars, because we were talking about F1.
Yes,
One of your sponsors this year that I saw in your jersey, and I also saw the car at the World Cups in the States was a pretty sweet Porsche. So what was the Porsche that I saw? And tell us about what's going on, because I know you're a pretty big car racer. You and your husband Mark have been at the tracks, tearing it up.
So we've been into cars for probably 10 years or so, and we followed Formula One off and on quite a bit. Formula One kind of mid to late 2000s was a really fun racing to watch, and they made some car changes. Hasn't been as fun and entertaining, but now they're coming back to more interesting racing. So I've always followed it. Mark follows it a little bit more than I do, but we always like it. So we like that kind of racing. It's just fun to watch. I love watching how those cars go around corners, the driving dynamics, just like the team tactics. Like, that's interesting to me. We got into doing track days at the track, and then we ended up buying our friend's BMW M3, like a E36 M3 that was really fun at the track. And once you do a couple track days in a fast car, you just want to do more and you want a faster car. And so after that, we bought a BMW 1M, which is a limited edition model BMW, which we absolutely loved. It's a wonderful car, and we drove that for autocross and track days. We never did any open wheel to wheel to racing, just because we don't have pockets that deep. Like, talk about bike racing being expensive. Trying to do that, that's brakes and tires alone. Doesn't even bring into the car as well as if you wreck it. Within a budget, we enjoyed that, and we still do. So we just recently sold the BMW 1M, as well as we had a newer model M3 that we got to drive. We sold both those cars, and we got a Porsche Cayman GT4, which is a 2016. It's an amazing car. But it all kind of came together because Porsche Colorado Springs came on as a sponsor this year too. Between them as a sponsor, selling the BMWs, we were able to get a really sweet car that's ours. It just worked out. So now we use it as, when we go to autocross and do track days, it's a different community of people that are interested in what I do. They're see the car, and they see the wrap, they see the sponsors, and they ask about bike racing. Yeah. So it's a completely different population of people to kind of get involved with.
Yeah.
Which even driving, so I drove across country to the first 2 World Cups, and at the gas station, random guys at the gas station were just like, what is that car? Where are you going? What are you doing? And I say it, and I talk to them about it, and they're like, oh, that's really interesting.
Where are you in?
Exactly. And it's I feel like it's that elevator conversation you can have with somebody is how do I get people interested in bike racing? It brings up the subject conversation. You can explain it. You can say what the sponsors are and what you're doing. And they're like, oh, I might check that out. Or if it's on NBC Gold one day where they're flipping channels, wait a second. I heard about this.
Everyone's into
It's
cars.
A new fan maybe. Yes. And everybody's into cars. They understand cars.
Good tactic.
Yeah. And
we should have a car race at a cyclocross race.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
I feel like as long as Tim Johnson stays far away from our car.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely not. Give him a little GTI or something. And just we can drive away from him. Oh, he's a pretty good driver, so I'm sure he could do a number on with a GTI.
All right. So highs and lows. Yeah. So I'm going to just ask one last question that is kind of my end of the interview. And then I have a little segment called Getting to Know. Okay. Getting to Know Katie
those
Compton.
are always fun.
Yeah. So there's going to be some hypotheticals in there.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you some scenarios. Okay. You can give me your... just because I want the people to be able to know who you are.
All right.
I want to ask what race you think meant the most to you in your career. What's the one that you've looked back on so far that you've had, that you either won or did well in, that you're that one probably, and there could be more than one, but
Actually, two stand out in my career. One of them was actually Paralympics, and it's still my favorite event ever. And then the other one, I'll start, the cyclocross one was the Rome World Cup, and I think it was 2014, 13 or 14, when I had won the last World Cup. I had won that race as well as the World Cup overall that day. And then I think it was 2013, so it's going back to Louisville for Worlds. So mainly Rome is because it rained like overnight, and so a dry course turned into like a kind of slippery mud race. Marianne was there too, and I rode her off my wheel, and I won the race. And it was one of those like good days, legs felt great, won the race, won the World Cup. It just that it couldn't have gone better. And then flying back to Louisville and getting second at Worlds too. It's just like, it was like a really fun finish to the season. So that race, Rome World Cup, is still one of my favorites. And then when I was racing on the Paralympic team as a pilot for blind athletes, our final pursuit ride in Athens at the Paralympic Games, we set a world record. And it's one of those races where pursuiters will understand how great it feels to hit your lap times consistently in a pursuit, and then also get faster in the last 3 to 4 laps. And that's what we did. We hit our marks to the 10th every single lap, consistent. And then at the end, the coach is like, just go for it. And so every lap was faster. And like that feeling to cross the line, we won the gold medal, set a world record, and had a wonderful ride. That feeling sticks with me because it was one of my favorites. Yeah. So those two, for sure.
All right, so let's hop into, thank you for that. Let's hop into getting to know Katie Compton. So again, I'm gonna put out some hypotheticals.
Okay.
This is supposed to be fun. So this is not none of these are real life scenarios. So
but they're hypothetical, so they could be real.
That's right. So your dream car company, Porsche, decides to sponsor you outright, like corporate.
Like whatever car I can get as money as I want.
And the CEO challenges you to a track race.
Ooh.
You know they're a good driver.
Right.
Do you go in and do you just smash them? Like, you know you're good, and whatever their CEO, man, female, doesn't matter. You go in and you smash them. That's A. B, you go light, like you don't want to beat up on them too bad. You know what I mean? Or C, rip it super hard, show them how nasty you are, but then kind of fake a mechanical at the end. Again, just to get people to know kind of, your mindset a little bit.
You get a win, honestly. And honestly, if it's a CEO, they're fighters, they're winners. They're in that position for a reason, so they're just as competitive.
So you show your cyclocross instinct.
For sure. And I will definitely drive that Carrera 4S like as best as I can possibly do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So another one. Okay. So you're at a prestigious award show at the end of the Belgian cyclocross season. Like, you've been invited. This is like the Belgian commencement.
Yeah.
Okay. And the commentator, who's not part of cyclocross, like they've hired him in. He's just kind of like a big name in Belgium, but he's not. Okay. He reads your name as Katie Compton, but he immediately thinks, as a genuine mistake, that it's Katie F'n Compton. Which is French fries for anyone that doesn't know.
Yeah.
Do you A, throw your drink in his face? B, you laugh with him and say that you love Fritches? Or do you C, politely grab the mic and say, it's Katie Compton?
Oh, I'm torn between like what I want to do with C. C is like what like the monkey brain in me would be like, I want that option. But realistically, I would probably do B, just because I'm just like, oh, that's in front of a lot of people, and that's probably not the appropriate behavior. But like C was what I'd really like to do.
Okay, all right. Okay, last one. Okay, just trying to get to know you here. You're winning a World Cup, like modern day, right now. You're winning a World Cup. But you going through the pit, you're going as hard as you can. You're in a pack, it's going down.
Yeah.
You look over in the pit, and to your surprise, you see Mark.
On the wrong side?
In a headlock from another federation. Like, the other teams have got Mark in a headlock. Like, they've got him pinned down. And you're like, so do you drop your bike, come over, get onto like the course barricades, and then WWE style, just like drop an elbow on someone? Do you B, yell encouragement to Mark and keep racing? And then there's C, just pretend like you didn't see it.
First of all, I would make sure like there's a bike I could actually change in the process so I don't get disqualified. But honestly, I just let Mark take care of it. As long as I had a new bike to get on, I would just be like blinders, like I didn't even see it, pretend like nothing's happening, grab my bike and go win a bike race. And I'm like, and then after the fact, be like, dude, what happened? If he's not in the hospital. But honestly, if it comes to that, like Mark can get a little bit aggro when he wants to. So
You gotta have sharp elbows in the pits anyway, so he's prepared.
Yeah, he's pretty polite and understanding when he needs to be, but like if you piss him off, he will put you in your place. Okay. Whether his physical strength will be able to back that up, I don't know. But the anger and like just the like mental side to be like, I'm taking care of this.
Deep down, I really would love to see this show where you come off the barricade with an elbow.
What Just WWF.
Yeah, just exactly. Boom, right onto somebody.
Honestly, if I wouldn't get disqualified and if like the officials wouldn't just like throw us out forever, it would be pretty funny.
That would be a good story. That would go down in the history books. Like Sven Nys chasing that kid with the beer.
Yeah, and that kid deserved it for sure.
Exactly.
Like I think I that was actually a fun Sven moment because I'm just like, good on you. Yeah. Because like I think Sven put up with it for 1 or 2 laps. At the end, he's like, no, I'm done. You're not going to treat me that way.
That's right.
Yeah, and the kid was like, deer in the headlights, like, oh God, I didn't realize this was going to happen.
That's what I have here for you, Katie. Thank you for your time today. Thank you so much. Good luck with the rest of your season.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks. It's been fun.
What an awesome conversation we had with Katie Compton. That was super fun for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Those questions at the end had me laughing, as you could tell from the interview. Such a pleasure to be able to get to spend time with her. So I want to thank you all for listening. If you haven't yet, wherever you get your podcasts, please subscribe to us. Give us a review. Let us know what you're thinking. Shoot us a line on social media. We look forward to checking with you guys next week. Thank you again for listening.